Right, to start the music today, we call on a new group making their first appearance in Top of the Pops. They're called the Spectres, and this is Gloria.
Tell you about my baby. When she comes around, she's about 5 feet 4 in her hair's about brown. When she comes around here, she's about midnight. You know, she make you feel so good. I wanna say she makes you feel alright. And her name is G. She make you feel so good. I wanna say she makes you feel alright. When she comes on my street, and she comes to my house, and she knocks on my door, and she comes in my room, and she makes you feel alright. She makes you feel so good. Yeah, feel alright, alright, alright. Hey, G-L-O-R-I, yeah. G-L-O-R-I, yeah. I'm gonna shout it all night. I'm gonna shout it every day. Yeah, 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 yeah. So good, alright. You make me feel so good.
The Spectres there.
iTunes Radio reminds you, Strange Brews, the show of your choice.
Hello and welcome again to the Strange Brew podcast. My name's Jason Barnard and that was the Spectres, as explained by Brian Matthews there, and Gloria from their Saturday Club BBC radio session from September 1966, and of course the Spectres, the precursor to one of the great bands of the British rock era, Status Quo, and on the drums in their classic years was John Coghlan. So let's hear my chat with John. Hello.
Hello, mate. All right.
Great. Thanks so much for speaking to me.
Okay, no problem.
I've been looking at your website to see some of the activities you're involved with, and one of them is a new biography of you by Stephen Meyer, Spud. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it's the first book me and Steve put out was Coghlan and Quo some time ago. I think that was 2 or 3 years ago. And Stephen said, let's do another one. It's all about the 60s and my thing up to date, what I'm doing with John Coglan's Quo Reimagined, which is some of the Quo songs in my set, but it's done in a jazz style. But you can still recognise the song, obviously. We haven't changed it that much, but it's something different for me to do, you know.
That's the Quo Reimagined way where you're doing more jazz versions of many of the songs from Quo, is that right?
Yeah, because I mean, it all really started a couple of years ago when me and Gilly, we go to Burford, to Warwick Hall and see the jazz every month. And that's in fact, we're going tonight to see a little jazz band. But the thing is, I got talking to Paul Jeffries, who plays double bass, and we had a chat. And I said, I'd love to sit in one day and play. And he said, why don't you and me do something together? So I put the band together. So what he pulled in Alex Steele on keyboards and Ben Holder on violin and vocals. And I'm obviously playing drums, playing with brushes mainly. And it really is interesting. We had a rehearsal and we enjoyed it. And we've done a few gigs. And couple of them were sold out, and I was really pleased with it. And it's actually, because a lot of fans come along because they're not sure what it's all about, and they come and look, and they go at the end, they come up and say, "Oh, John, that was great. Thank you for that. That was good fun." And I said, "Thanks for supporting me. It's lovely."
It goes back to some of your influences for your drumming style, because obviously drummers like Buddy Rich or some of the drummers from the 60s that were just before you were heavily influenced by jazz, like Bobby Elliott, Charlie Watts. So you're reconnecting a little bit with that jazz feel, aren't you?
Yeah, I think it goes back to really my early days. I mean, my mum and dad used to take me up to what they called a CPH, Crystal Palace Hotel. They'd have dance bands on at the weekend. Of course, mums and dads, they go ballroom dancing. But I'd sit and watch the band, and I was told that they had a break, and I got up and I could just probably stand behind the drums and started to pick up the sticks, and the drummer told me to get off the stand, and I just watched drummers. And it was just the way things were in those days, and I thought, well, I'd like to do that. And I sort of listened to Dad's records and LPs and Joe Loss and all that stuff, and orchestras, and then there was the little jazz bands, and it just it interested me. And Dad bought me a little Broadway drum kit, and of course then I taught myself, and that's how it progressed really. But and an interesting thing is I was at a gig yesterday with Don Powell, a Slade's drummer, and we were talking about things and Q&A with the audience, and it was really good fun. But we're talking about drums, and I was signing autographs, and this guy says, "Oh, you're left-handed. You play drums right-handed." And I said, "Yeah, that's purely because when I saw drummers in my time, my young days, you never saw a left-handed drummer playing the other way around. So I just sort of taught myself to go around the kit and do it right, and that's how it works." And evidently, Ringo Starr was left-handed but played right-handed, and so did John Bonham. So it's just the way you start, and you teach yourself to do things your way, other than being told what to do the right way.
Were your first groups, if you want to call it that, when you were in the Air Cadets?
Oh, yeah. See, that's interesting. I believe in life, things connect to something else, and that connects to something else. And I was at school, Kingsdale Comprehensive, in Allen Park, near Dulwich in South London. And there was a guy in my class called Stephen Ainsworth, and he said, "I understand you like aeroplanes, John." "Yeah, I do, especially military," chatting away about aeroplanes. And he said, don't tell the rest of this class, but I'll take you up to the Air Cadets next weekend, meet the CEO, and you can join up. I said, "Great." And, in those days, we were all still at school and things. That Mum and Dad were very proud that I had an RAF uniform on, We cycle up there. I think it was a Wednesday and a Sunday beyond parade, as they called it then. And we put a little group together in the squadron. Wally Rogers, Johnny Bush, only two guitars. And all we did was do shadows, instrumentals, and two guys kept coming in saying, "Can we listen?" And that turned out to be Francis Rossi and Alan Lancaster. They asked me, "Are you doing anything?" I said, "No, not with this." No, he said, "Would you join our band?" So I went down to Forest Hill next weekend, and that was the start. And so, it's great. Then I believe we became the Spectres and won an audition that ended up being playing for a summer season at Butlins in Minehead. Fortunately for that, that's where we met Rick Parfitt. He was singing with two girls called The Highlights. We persuaded Rick to join, so that's how it all started.
Because speaking to quite a few musicians from the 60s, I'm not sure younger people would know now, but having a summer season at a summer camp was a huge deal, and you'd be playing to a huge audience in ballrooms, weren't you?
I think we did. I think we were told to play in a rock and roll ballroom. And Rick Parfitt was singing with the two girls in the theatre. So he was in the posh bit, we were in the rock and roll ball. But it did us proud, and we had Roy Lines, playing keyboards, and there was Alan on bass, me on drums, Francis on guitar. And it was just really a good little thing. And I think we played twice a day. And Rick came to see us, and we got chatting to Rick, and the rest is history, really.
Were you known as the Spectres then?
Yeah, I think Status Quo, the Status Quo, came from a guy called Pat Barlow, who was our manager at the time. And the most funniest thing, when we were rehearsing as the Spectres before we became Status Quo, Pat owned a little showroom in the Lambeth Walk, and that's where his showroom was. And he was a gas fitter, and we practiced in his basement. And one day, because I think we were a bit loud in the basement, And we came up to, I presume, to go home, and all the cookers and things all moved across the floor with the vibration. So we had to move them all out the way before we could get out the basement. It was hilarious. But, you know, the Status Quo was our first proper name, I suppose. And but then we dropped the and just became Status Quo, and it's much easier, you know, much better to pronounce somehow, I suppose.
Listen to some of the material when you were in the Spectres, including some of the BBC sessions, and you're doing some great garage covers like Gloria.
Yeah.
Was that representative of your material at that time, and what was it like recording some of those BBC radio sessions?
Well, I remember you used to listen to, it was Them, wasn't it? It wasn't right, it was Them, they were called Them, that's right. And I used to listen to that all the time. I had the 45 single at home, and I'd play it. I used to sort of try and play it a bit like the drummer did on the record, and it was great. And I think Alan Lancaster sang that, and he did a good job of it. And I think in those days, of course, you know, everyone's copying everybody else, but you know, what could you do? And it was just fun. It was just, any musician would tell you in those days, it was just fun to play to an audience. Even that was a bonus. You know, play to an audience, come to see you. It was wonderful.
So what led you getting signed up to Pie then? Was it your manager?
I think it must have been, was it Pat Barlow? I'm not sure. I can't. It was John Schroeder that produced it.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to John when we finished, are you thinking Picture Matchstick Men? Yeah, it was 1968, I believe. And I said, what happens now, John? He said, well, we'll promote it and see what happens. And I remember it charted, and we were driven up to Manchester to do Top of the Pops. It was just the start of something new for us. You know, we didn't know how big it was going to get eventually. I think we released a few singles as the Status Quo, whatever it was. And weren't there a couple of singles before Matchstick Man?
I Who Have Nothing was your first, and that was under the Spectres. There was Hurdy-Gurdy Man.
That's right.
We Ain't Got Nothing. Yeah, I quite like that one.
Yeah.
But it didn't go anywhere. And there was one as Traffic Jam, almost, but not quite there.
Yeah, Traffic Jam. And we were told, because we were called Traffic originally, then called Stevie Winwood. So I've got a band called Traffic. So Pat, I think it was Pat's idea, call it Traffic Jam, which I thought sucked a bit. I thought it was very strange, you know. But then I think Status Quo was the one where we all decided in the end, I think, oh, yeah, okay, that'll do. We weren't really over the moon. Then, of course, it stuck and it became world famous.
Matchstick Men, a huge hit in the United States. Did that come a little bit later in the year?
Well, I'm not too sure. I can't remember that far back. But I think what we should have done eventually later on in life, maybe the 70s, is gone and spent a lot of time in America, like Fleetwood Mac did and other bands. And because what we did, I remember we were spoiled because we were becoming extremely well known in the UK and Europe and places like that and Scandinavia. And I think we were so far away from home that we all thought, well, we'd do this tour, get it over with and go back to the UK because we knew. But in America, some places, some states, we weren't even known. No one even heard of us. Another state, oh, yeah, we found a Status Quo, as they called us. And I think what we should have done, I think we missed out because every British band wanted to break America. Of course, that's what we thought we'd want to do. And I think we should have moved out there, spent a year, 18 months, then come back to the UK. But looking back now, I think we were spoiled because we were spoiled in the UK and Europe.
Even in that earlier period, you were on some of those package tours with some great acts like Gene Pitney, for example. Do you have any memories of that?
Yeah, the UK tours with Gene Pitney. And I remember one night we all went to a club in, I don't know, some English town. And allegedly we'd all made a noise. And there was Eamon Corner, Don Partridge, Mike Cotton Sound, and someone else. Anyway, we got thrown out of the club and all went back to the hotel. And we got on the bus. There was just a coach in the morning, you know, no luxury. And so we got on this coach and it's doom and gloom. And, John Coghlan got us all thrown out of the club last night. Or, you know, that's not like John, you know, it was one of those things. And Gene Pitney got on the bus. I said, what's going on, guys? You all look so miserable. Oh, well, John got us thrown out. He said, well, what's wrong with that? That's cool. And, oh, it's okay because Gene said it was okay. Yeah, but they were good tours. And Don Partridge, his hit was Rosie. Eamon Corner, they were a good little band. They were good fun. The Mike Cotton Sound was the orchestra back in, well, Gene Pitney, really. And it was good fun. And I suppose when you think about it, you probably only played about 4 or 5 songs, if that, because it was only a couple of hours the whole show. And I think there was some other acts on which I can't remember now, but they were good tours. And I remember, like I said, I was with Don Powell last night and with the Crooked Billet in Stoke Road near Henley. And that was fab. It was a Q&A. And the questionnaire was Mike Reid, DJ Mike Reid.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the past. Anyway, I said to Don, do you remember that Australian tour we did? How about this was a set? It was Slade, Status Quo, Lindisfarne, and Caravan.
Brilliant.
We were on one big tour, touring Australia. And we arrived in Australia, I think it possibly was Sydney. We're all completely tired because it's a long way. I wanted to go to a hotel. Well, no, you're going straight to some big room, and they interviewed us for an hour. So we just wanted to just go to sleep. And but the tour was great, and Ansett Airlines were the Australian airline at the time, and there's another one which I can't remember now. But they put detectives on the plane because there was 4 bands, English musos as they called us, with all our road crews. So there's a lot of people, and it was really funny because we'd all got probably outlandish clothes on and hair, and we stood out as, musos, I suppose. But these 4 detectives were in suits and looking totally, and you suss it out in the end because, hey, they're on the plane yesterday and they're on it again. We started talking to them and being nice, and they were really getting annoyed because all they wanted to do was us to play up and arrest us. They had no chance. When we got off the plane to fly back to the UK, it's nice, guys. See you, man. Bye-bye. No arresting. Bye. Being quite sarcastic in our British way. But it was good. Me and Don come up with some memories and things. It was good fun.
It seemed to take a year or two before your sound really developed, because you could say that you were stuck in more pop singles or psychedelic Matchstick Men, Ice in the Sun, that sort of thing. It seemed like you started to find the sound that was right for you. Is that something that you were conscious of at the time?
I think what it was, going back, Bob Young was our roadie at the time with the van and setting the gear up. And because I think we were quite successful. Then there was a big gap and no hits. And Bob said, look, why don't you get rid of those all those stage clothes and the frilly jackets and the frilly shirts and all that rubbish, and put jeans and T-shirts on, grow your hair, heads down boogie. And we redid our set, and that's when it really worked. I remember France, there was some support band somewhere. Francis says to me, watch the drummer, and there's a blues band. They were doing this double-handed shuffle with a snare drum as well. So can you do that? I said, yeah. So I started doing that. And like in my chair, that's another example of that shuffle. Because me being left-handed and play right-handed, it was quite simple for me to lead with the left hand. But yeah, it was down to Bob Young really, and grow your hair and heads down boogie, and just change the set. I can't even remember if we even bothered doing Pictures of Matchstick Men after that. But that's right, it was Bob Young who said, I know what we should do. Why don't you play universities and colleges? So there's one we got booked for, and Bob said, oh, this is the band. We did a sound check and all that. And he said, well, my name's whatever his name was. And he came up and he said, you're on stage in 10 minutes, whatever it was. Yeah, okay. We said, oh, we'll just walk on. That's what we want to be, what bands are doing, not being in just walk on, being cool,
Yeah.
And he said, no, he said, I always introduce the bands. And so we started arguing with him, and Bob said, look, let him walk on stage, announce us, we'll walk on and play, do our set. Anyway, we're standing beside the stage and he walks on. There's a massive cheer from the college students and university and all that. And he goes, ladies and gentlemen, you've been waiting for this band for a long time, and tonight we got them here. And he stopped like that, and all you could smell was Wonga, cannabis in the gig. And he went, they're here. And fell over. We just walked on, someone picked him up. It was hilarious. He forgot who we were. That's what I meant to say. Instead of saying, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Status Quo, That's all he had to do. But he was so wonga out of his head, he forgot. But we did lots of universities and colleges, and it paid off, thanks to Bob.
much indeed. Oh, yeah.
And it was Down the Dustpipe that really accelerated things, and you got in the charts with a sound that was more representative of you. I've read that was originally a demo by the group Man. Do you remember hearing that song for the first time and putting your own spin on it?
I thought Down the Dustpipe was written by Martin Wilde, wasn't it?
Cal Grossman, that one.
Was it? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Ice in the Sun was Marty.
That's right. I'm sure it was start of something new, but it paid off just by the hard work and determination for us to prove a point. And the way I look at it, it's all about the groove. You know, a drummer's job is to keep time, make the band swing, which is an old jazz saying in the early days. And that's what it's about. I mean, I think when you listen to example like the Beatles or the Rolling Stones, they just got that wonderful groove. And Charlie, as we miss Charlie, of course, he's not with us anymore. Charlie had that lovely offbeat, and Keith Richards would always say how good Charlie was. He was always there. There's that lovely offbeat, a lovely bass drum pattern. The same with Ringo. I remember someone saying to me years ago, "Oh, Ringo Starr, he's not very good, is he? He's always won, you know." I said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Ringo kept great time and played the song." And he was obviously, as I was at times, "Oh, John, could you play this riff? Could you play that? Whatever." So, yeah, okay, that's fine. And same with Ringo and John Bonham, I presume, and other drummers like that. But it worked. I mean, you listen to Beatles stuff today, it's fabulous. And I was a huge fan of the Beatles. I thought they were great. Some great songs. But I'm sure you feel the same.
Absolutely. It seemed in those early years that you built up your following on those live shows that you mentioned. And that's one of the things that sets Status Quo apart from your peers, in that it doesn't really matter what the critics say. It was your fans, and they remained so loyal and sustained you.
Well, there's also nothing as good as the Status Quo audience. I mean, they've been lovely with us for many years. And, you know, I was talking to Julie, my wife, about this the other day. We were at this gig last night, and there's loads of fans there coming up and, "Oh, John, it's lovely to meet you. Can I have a photo taken with you? Can you sign this picture for me on my album," whatever album we had, and all that. And I said, it's 81 when we all fell out after about 20 years. And it's a long time ago, isn't it, to still have that fan base and appreciate it and love it, you know. Because the worst thing was for musicians and actors, and it was when the dreaded COVID came. None of us could work or do anything, you know. It was awful, but thank God we're back working, and the fans are coming to see us. It's wonderful. We really appreciate it.
In the early 70s, one of the few DJs that really, really supported you, again, people may not know this, was John Peel. He loved your material, didn't he?
Yeah, he was great. He played our records on his programs all the time. And I remember we did some festival with him. He was lovely. And it may have been Reading Festival, or was it Lincoln Festival? I can't remember, years ago. But also, do you remember the pirate radio stations?
Yeah.
One was very good for us, was Caroline, Radio Caroline, a single. And they played it all the time.
Right.
That was lovely. And I think we should have been allowed to keep them. They did no harm. It just played music.
Yeah.
But someone obviously didn't think it was right.
Signing with Vertigo seemed to complete what people know as that classic period for Quo. Was that really helpful moving over to Vertigo?
I think it was. I think Colin Johnson was our manager at the time, I believe. And he said, we're going to go with Vertigo. And I think they did us proud, I think. Yeah.
On tracks like Paper Plane and the album Pile Driver, the drum sound on that record is possibly some of the best sounding drums I've ever heard on recorded material.
Thank you.
How was that achieved? Was it just that you set up the studio in the right way and played live?
I suppose, well, we always played live, thank God, in all the stuff we recorded. But I believe it was my early days with my Ludwig super classic kit, the same one that Ringo had, the same colour. Well, I bought that in Drum City in the 60s, but lovely kit. I used that on early recordings. Then got to deal with Premier Drums, and Premier looked after me for many years. And it must have been just a studio engineer that mic'd up the drums right and got the sound right. Because I don't like, me and Don were talking about this last night, but talking about some drum kits you see and you walk into a studio and it's all set up, not necessarily your own band, but someone else, say, for argument's sake. And it's got gaffer tape all over the tom-toms, and they put 15 cushions in the bass drum. And it's dead. You think, what's all that about? That's no good. The drum is supposed to breathe. And all my drums that I play, and not that I've got lots, I've only got 2 kits now, but it's all open. It's all, the snare's live, there's no dampening on tom-toms, even the bass drum's empty. And it's supposed to be live, it's supposed to be big, and that the sound I've always loved is Brian Bennett, the Shadow's got a lovely drum sound.
Yeah.
I know Brian's a lovely guy, great drummer, but Brian writes lots of scores for TV now. Anyway, then you listen to someone like John Bonham, that massive drum sound. That's the way it should be, But obviously, it depends what music you're playing. But it must be awful to be in a studio recording a drum kit with a band, and it's all dead, and got those little blue tack things they stick on drums. No, don't like that.
One of the venues that Quo were known for being fond of and playing quite a few times, even when you became very big, was the Marquee. What was special about the Marquee? And
I think Marquee was as it was in those days, the place to play, to be seen. It's in Wardour Street in Soho, and that was like the place to be. And had some great shops and sort of clothes shops where you could buy where you bought those outrageous shirts and baggy trousers and all that horrible stuff. But then there was, you used to go into Wardour Street, set up in the Marquee, go to the Ship pub, which is still there. We went there a little while ago, and we walked through the door, and it's exactly as it was all those years ago. And I spoke to the manager, and he said, we tried to keep it as it was because it's got a lot of history. And all the musicians that played the Marquee, say you're on stage at 9 and it's 7 o'clock, we go down the pub, maybe have something to eat and have a drink. And it was really great, and it's got some history there. And the sad thing is that the Marquee's gone. It's a restaurant now, which is really sad because that was a place to play. And we had a guest, be a girlfriend with us, so we smuggle them in the back door so they didn't have to pay. Any band with a name played there in all its history. And they moved it to, was it Oxford Street?
Yeah.
Up there. And I remember going there, and they tried to keep that memory going, but I'm afraid it wasn't the same.
No.
It never is.
Your management were in the same building, weren't they?
No. Our office was round the corner from the Marquee.
Right.
And I think it was called Quarry Productions because it was Quarry and Rory. Rory Gallagher's management was there as well. So we shared the same office, but good days. It was so nice to, like I said earlier, about going back to Wardour Street and walking straight past that restaurant, which used to be the Marquee, and going in the Ship and sat in there. I thought, wow, it's so lovely to be back, and some fond memories in that place. But hey, it's as they call it, progress. But I'm pleased they kept the Ship. That was what I'm meant to say. It's so lovely. All, like I said, every band that's famous has been in there. It really is the place to go for a pint.
Then I forgive me. Would you like to ride my paper plane?
How involved were you on the production side in that period when Status Quo were co-producers?
Obviously, I was interested in keeping a nice drum sound, which the engineer was good at that, and said, yeah, no problem, we keep that open and keep it nice and live. It was great, you know, it's just part of it. And a lot of fans thought the band was better sound-wise with us producing ourselves, and I think they're probably right. Well, you know, then we had Pip doing it, and I thought Pip was great. A lot of fans didn't, but you can't keep everyone happy all the time. There's always someone going to not like something, but the majority thought it was great. So why not? I suppose you have to experiment and see which way it goes.
Pip was involved from rocking all over the world for a few albums, and it seemed a bit more of a produced sound.
I think Rocking Over the World, I can't remember if we decided we should record that. But as you know, it wasn't written by Quo. John Fogerty, wasn't it? And we had lots of fans liked it. And it's amazing when you start to play it. Even with my John Coghlan's Quo Reimagined, we play that, and everyone's up and singing it. It's great. Hey, it was a famous song, and okay, we didn't write it, but it did us proud. And I often wonder what John Fogerty thought of our version. We did Top of the Pops with it. That's another story, doing those. That was good fun. It's a shame, we were talking about that last night. It's a shame they took it off the air because it was good.
Because you weren't snobbish about Top of the Pops, unlike some other bands that thought, oh, it's not cool, therefore I'm not going to do it. You embraced Top of the Pops, and you were one of the groups that were on it all the time.
Yeah, we loved doing it. It was good fun. Okay, so you were there all day. I remember when you finished camera rehearsal, makeup rehearsal, dress rehearsal, all these things to make sure you looked okay on camera. And then we said, right, what should we do now? We've got an hour to spend or an hour and a half to wait before we actually start recording live show. And we go up to the bar and, we can't go up there. Why? Why is that? We've got to have a BBC personnel to take you and sign you in. So we did that, got signed in. And it was good fun. We found other bands up there, and there was Pans people, and we knew the girls well. And there was loads of other people up there. Then you just go back downstairs and get on stage and go through your 3 minutes of fame. And was all had a drink by then, and it was really, just go for that, be all right. You know, then I suppose people said, well, it's not, why don't you play live? And I said, well, I suppose we all wanted to at the end of the day, but if you got 6 acts on, if you had to do it live, it wouldn't sound as good. It wouldn't be like the record, which at the end of the day, that's what you're selling the record, that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you won't get that proper exactly sound as the record in the studio. 6 bands, it just wouldn't work because you haven't got the time to spread out and all miking all the different kits up and the amplifiers. It's so much easier just on there, go through the motions, walk off. Next band, same thing, cameras, done. That was it. It was great for us because I think lots of fans saw it, bought the record. It did us proud. I think they should have kept Top of the Pops.
Rocking all over
I've read that it was drugs for some of the other members, and it became an environment that was frustrating, and was one of the reasons why you basically had enough. Is that right?
Yeah, I think, see, I don't particularly like all that stuff. I mean, I did smoke a joint with the band once years ago. All it did was make you laugh and fall about. But I thought to myself, well, I do like a pint down the pub, and like most musicians, really, but I wasn't happy with it. And I felt, as Bob Young used to say, look, you don't need it. You don't really need it, really. And which is quite right, because what I was right about in anything in life, I suppose, if you take enough of what you have there, your body may, in the end, rely on it. And you become reliant. Then, you know, if you're flying somewhere and you get caught with it at the airport or something like that, it causes problems for the band. It causes problems for yourself. You can end up in prison, you know, whatever it is. But yeah, and I think really what we should have done is taken a few months off, because if we weren't recording, we were touring. If we weren't touring, we were recording. You know, there's only so much you can take. But hey, that was rock and roll. But I came home. I was living in the Isle of Man at the time, and I flew back to Isle of Man, and me and Jelly just went on holidays and just relaxed and went to nice hot countries and lay on the beach. Such a shame.
One of my favourite projects that deserves a wider airing that you were involved with is Partners in Crime, and there's some wonderful songs like Hollywood Dreams.
It was a guy called Pete Smith, and we were talking about me doing something, and he found a guy called Noel McKellar, who was a vocalist, fabulous voice, Noel McKellar. And I think he spent some time with Manfred Mann for a while. And the record companies, was it CBS, didn't push it. They said, oh, we love it, John, it's great. Well, why don't you promote it and put us on tour with somebody? Hollywood Dreams, Hold On, a track called Hold On,
yeah,
fabulous. And the keyboards and guitar, yeah, and it was just lovely. And it was one thing I regret is it wasn't promoted. I loved the tour with it, and I think it could have been big, because I remember some fans coming to see me play, and they said, "Oh, John, we love Partners in Crime," and it's a shame. I must dig out those singles and dig out the album if I can find it and get it played somewhere. But yeah, good days. I'm pleased you remembered that. Thank you.
Hollywood Dreams. She had pictures right there in her head. That's a 50s movie scene. I guess you could say it was a big surprise that blew away a technicolor dream. She had to grow up in a hurry, money going fast. Working as a waitress in a backstreet bar.
And one of the other projects that involved with, again, and I think there has been a retrospective on Cherry Red in recent years, was Diesel Band. And what was that led to the formation of that? Because you worked with Diesel Band over quite a period, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. There was quite a few members. Mickey Moody from Whitesnake. There was also, I remember later on, I was a Pretty Things fan, so I got Phil May to come and do some vocals.
Because River of Tears featured Phil May, didn't it?
That's right, yeah. That was a lovely song. And it's like everything else, unless you got the right backing promotion, people don't hear it. And it's quite sad, but I don't know. These things happen. I spoke to lots of musicians about what they've done. They've all been through the same boat. And sometimes you just go with the flow and see what happens and hope it can improve. But the Diesel Band was a band, I remember getting together with Jackie Linton. And it was Jackie's idea about calling it a Diesel Band because he knew I liked trucks and lorries and big vehicles and all that. And we called it John Collins Diesel Band. It was Jackie Linton's idea. And so we did it, and there's quite a few people in and out of the band all the time. It was just about playing a bit of blues and rock and roll, really, having a good time.
When Angela Lighten threw her life away, they said she was heading for a fall. But down there in Knoxville, you're some criminal. Wanting out when life gets so hard. She kicked off her shoes and slowly walked away. She went down to the water's edge, just had to get away. Down the river of tears, the river of tears. Down the river of tears, the river of tears. High school dances now, just memories. Her grades were average, nothing more. He was our shoulder pads, a narrow mind. But who really cares when hope's so blind? They talked about love, but how they shared with time. She just didn't come home one night. It never crossed his mind about the river of tears. This river of tears. The river of tears. The river of tears. Now if your whole world should fall, you take the easy way out. She just had to get away.
reforming the Frantic Four lineup over a decade ago, given Rick and Alan are no longer with us, it was a great way to reconnect unfinished business, it seemed, really.
But it was also, I think it all started with Alan G. Parker getting us to reform to do filmed us at Shepperton. And that all started off again, and it was great. The only thing different for me and Alan was the invention of the in-ears. You know, the sound system was fabulous, and that's great. They plugged me in at that when we go on stage, and Lance Miles is our drum check. He just plugged me in, whereas the guys had it just fixed on their belt and a little battery on there. Anyway, it worked a treat. And the touring on the tour buses are absolutely wonderful. I highly recommend it. Phoenix Busing, as it was then. And eat, sleep and drink on and tour on it. And they're great. And go in bedroom and everything else. And caterers on tour. We had caterers with us and they travel. And so we get breakfast and lunch and dinner at every gig, you know, way to go. And the only time we had stayed in hotels was on a night off. Bus would park outside. Francis and Rick were staying on their bus. Me and Alan and Bob Young and Gilly and Dale Lancaster. We'd go and stay in a hotel for one night and get back on the bus in the morning and carry on touring. It was just really good fun. I highly recommend it. And some on those tours, especially in Europe, we go overnight from some hall. We played a gig somewhere and we stopped, I suppose, to get diesel. And had 2 drivers on some of those big tours and which exchanged drivers and fill it up with film. Rick Parker used to come on our bus. And I said to him one night, "Where's Francis?" "Oh," he said, "Miserable sod's gone to bed." Okay. So Rick brought a ukulele on board. We open some wine and sing songs for a couple of hours. It was really good. It was a great way. And in fact, Rick Parfitt said to Francis, "I love doing this, the set we're doing now, like the old days, you know, it was really good fun." And he said, "It's awesome." He said, "I loved it. Why don't we carry on doing it with Alan and John?" And Francis said, "No, I don't want to do it. I want to carry on what he's doing." And this is what Rick told me. He said, "Why don't you, John and Alan, get a replacement for me?" And he said, "Why don't you go out of Status Quo PLC, Parfit Lengths from Coghlan?" And it was never really discussed because when the tour finished in Dublin, as you know, we all went home and carried on doing what we were doing. And of course, then dear Rick died and it was Alan. So a lot of fans have said to me, "Thank God we did the reunion tour when we did." Because if we'd said, "Oh, but we'll do it eventually," would have been too late. But thank God Alan G. Parker pushed forward to get it done. It was down to him, really. Thanks for that, Alan. It was good fun.
Until the last year or so, you were playing with John Coughlin's Quo and also releasing new material like Lockdown. That's a project that you were doing again over quite a period of time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was me and Mick Hughes been together for a long time. We got Pete Mason and Rick Chase on bass. And, it was good, really good band. They're going out now as the Quo Connection, and they're doing well. They're enjoying it. But Pete Mace wrote those 2 songs, I think, at his home, and we recorded those songs in his house, and it did well. The Heritage Charts pushed it, and thanks for that. It was good, you know. It's just another string to the bow, really. And also, JC's Quo Reimagined, we're recording in September.
Oh,
you know, hopefully, and my plan is probably get some CDs pressed up and sell them at gigs like musicians do, and you know, obviously hopefully get it on the radio, get it pushed, and it's just another string to the bow. And like I said earlier about JCQ Reimagined, is the fact that it's a different slant for me. I get to play brushes, then get sticks out near the end. And I remember the first gig we did in Warwick Hall in Burford. I said to Paul Jeffries, a bass player, I said, "I know a lot of jazz people come to this gig once a month," which me and Gilly are going tonight in Burford to see a band. And I wondered what the Quo fans would think us rearranging some of the Quo songs. And anyway, cut a long story short, we played, we did the last number and we finished it. Da-da-da-bam, finished, thank you, good night. And the whole audience stood up and clapping for more. It was wonderful. And I said, "Wow, it's great. Oh, John, that was really interesting. Thank you so much." They just loved it. Because what I was afraid of in the beginning was us really changing arrangements so much you didn't recognise Matchstick Men, or you wouldn't recognise Rock and Roll World, Paper Plane, Caroline. But I must say, without a doubt, as soon as the song starts, you recognise what it is. And the Ben Holder, who plays violin, because when I thought violin in a Quo song, but it's paid off. It really has worked. And I think a lot of fans have come in along because they're intrigued to see what this this new venture is all about. And I said to the band, you know, when you think how many times I played Caroline Down Down, Paper Plane, Whatever You Want, Rocking Over the World, in its normal vein as it was recorded and as we used to do it on stage, it's given me a break, something slightly different, you know. Just come and see it. You know, if you're out there or a Quo fan, come and see us. But I think the next gig is Royal Leamington Spa. That's sold out.
Brilliant.
You know, so there'll be a few gigs around, and not as many as I did with Quo, of course, but we do them when we can and get them out there, get it out there, get it advertised, and do some radio, promote it, and see what happens.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. And it's
Pleasure.
Brilliant to get that coverage of your whole career, and even better to see the projects that you're involved with, not only the speaking events, but John Coghlan's Quo Reimagined. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, mate. I enjoyed it. Anytime. Thank you.
All right. Take care then.
Bye, mate. Cheers, man.
You see me laughing, you see me crying. I'm up and down again, I just can't see the night. 'Cause there ain't no way inside. I'll tell you something, I'm left with nothing. Down on my luck again, I don't know what to do. 'Cause I can't get close to you. I lost my mind in lockdown, time and time again. I lost my mind in lockdown, and I can't wait to be with you again. I'm always dreaming, always believing. I'm under house arrest, but I'll be back again. When it all comes to an end, I'm tired of waiting, anticipating. I'm on my own again, I never see the light, but I won't give up the fight. I lost my mind in lockdown, time and time again. I lost my mind in lockdown, and I can't wait to be with you again. I lost my mind in lockdown, time and time again. I lost my mind in lockdown, and I can't wait to be with you again.
Thank you for listening to the Strange Brew podcast. If you do like the show, please consider a small donation to help keep the show archive online. It's 10 years since I started the podcast, and hosting fees are increasing over time. All your support keeps the show running and helps me get amazing guests. To support me, just go to thestrangebrew.co.uk, where you'll see a donate button on the homepage. Thank you very much. Plus, any reviews on your podcast services help to spread the word too. Thank you.